Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thanks to the panel for being here. I wasn't here in Congress when TSA was instituted, and I don't have a lot of answers to how you do it. I just know that when I enter the airport in Detroit, I go through multiple contacts with multiple agents, including TSA. I would also hasten to say at a meeting like this, while there are concerns and there are problems we have to deal with, overwhelmingly I've been treated well by TSA, even when they didn't know I was a member of Congress. And the fact of the matter is that only 2 incidences can I remember the exact airport where I was not treated well, Los Angeles and Dulles. That says, for the most part, your personnel doing a job I wouldn't want to do are at least attempting to work with, and I want to applaud you for that. We can jump on you, but I think there is also something to say about having a untenable job to do, where you have to be right all the time. And fortunately, since 9/11, as a result of TSA's efforts and others' efforts, including the airlines and passengers, we have not had a down plane, and we want that to continue. But I do want to ask you some questions, Mr. Neffenger. In our hearing today, you have pledged to fix some things. During other public crises, other TSA administrators have pledged to fix things. What will be different this time?
Thank you for that question. It really goes to what I was saying earlier, and that is, when you have, so my experience is I've been an operator my whole career. I spent 34 years in the United States Coast Guard. In many respects, a lot of similarities between the Coast Guard and the TSA in this sense. Both are mission-based organizations. Both have, in some respects, missions that have a no-fail quality to them. Both have a distributed frontline workforce that's responsible for carrying out that mission. So in my experience, what makes operating agencies challenging and exciting at the same time is challenging in that you have something you have to do every single day. And that tyranny of the right now can lead you to simply address the problem in its presentation. By that I mean, you have a failure at a checkpoint, you work with the team at that checkpoint, or you work with the team at that airport, and you say, look, you failed, here's how you failed, don't do it again. That may seem like it fixes the problem, but it really doesn't over time. What you find is that typically if you have failures like that in a dedicated frontline workforce, and I really appreciate the words you had to say about that workforce, then it means you've got something more systemic going on. And it's hard sometimes for an operating agency to take the time to do that.
How will you monitor that bigger picture then?
Well, I think that it starts by recognizing that there is a bigger picture and saying it out loud. And so that's something I said when I first came in. Anytime you have multiple failures that look the same over time, that means something else is going on. And so we're going to stop. We're going to look at the entire approach to the organization. How well do we understand our mission? How well have we articulated that mission in terms of what it needs to succeed? How well have we deployed the equipment that we think addresses that need? How well have we trained our people to work that equipment? And what kinds of processes have we given them and procedures? For example, we found that there were 3,100 independent tasks that we expected a screener to memorize. That's an impossible task. You can't do that. So it gets additive over time. So you've got to step back to first principles and say, this is about the mission first and foremost, and it's about the performance of that mission in an environment in which we have so much at stake. It pays. You have to look at what's already been done by third-party independent auditors. I greatly value the work of the GAO and the IG's offices because they give me a third-party independent assessment of what are some of those challenges, and I can use that as a way to go back and begin to dig into the deeper issues in the organization.
Let me add on to what my friend Mr. Connolly started with you. And I think it goes to this idea of a bigger picture. How will you work with airports, airlines, and others to disrupt the incentives that can emphasize speed over security?
Well, as I mentioned, I've met with a number of those, actually all of the major airlines in the U.S., as well as their associations and other stakeholders. It starts by recognizing that this is an interactive system. TSA doesn't work alone inside the aviation system. It works in conjunction with all the other players, and everyone has a role to play in the security of the system. And so it's not simply a handoff and a transaction from one entity in the system to the other. It's a continuous interaction, and that interaction requires that they be aware of the challenges that their system imposes upon our responsibilities for security, just as we have to be aware of the challenges that our security responsibilities impose on them. I will tell you that they've been very receptive to that. There's a lot more work we can do to connect more effectively to the various players in the system. And so I've established a number of regular meetings now with my counterparts in the private sector, as well as across the system, to begin to address what I think are these longstanding, overarching issues that have been not necessarily ignored, but have not been attended to appropriately.
Thank the gentleman.
You'll bet.
Now